things that we've heard this morning are very, very empowering, both of them. You'll do amazing things, and you say this voice that we know that lives and moves and has being in us tells us we're all okay. Everything's okay, right? So let's just close our eyes, get comfortable in our chairs, and take this into meditation for a few moments. Turn your conscious thinking, your mind, your awareness to your breath. Take a deep breath in, and then release. And if it feels like it today, you may have come in here without feeling this way, but as you take another deep breath in and then release, you may see a smile come on your face for this joy and this peace, this realization of who and what we are. Another deep breath in. And then release. For we turn our conscious awareness to our breath as we sit in meditation, to focus on the breath, return to the breath, constantly returning to the breath, and let it quiet our body and still our mind, just for a few moments. If you feel any tension in your body, you can release it now. Relax. Feel your body fully supported by the chair you're sitting in, and just be. Return your conscious awareness to the breath. Just breathe. Just breathe. The spirit of infinite peace flows through my whole being right now. I live, move, and have my entire existence in this peace. I know there is no judgment, no condemnation, and no fear right now. I realize that everyone and everything is struggling toward the light. We're all moving toward the light. I know that peace exists at the center of everything. So today I let go of all confusion, permit myself to rise into the realm of pure spirit, which is forever free from doubt and uncertainty. I know that God is right where I am. God is right where you are right now. So in these times when we seek inwardly to be aware of this divine presence, we're talking about divine presence today. Presence and potential. So in this divine presence, as we seek this, we know there's an inner presence in everything. I know that this present responds to me. I know that everyone and everything is an incarnation of God, that the living Spirit breathes through all. I recognize this Spirit and it responds to me. I realize that everything is alive, awake, aware with Spirit. I commune with this divine presence. The Spirit within me reaches and communes with the Spirit in everything and everyone I contact. In this same Spirit, in all, over all, and through all. So as you breathe this into your being, I know there's an inner presence in everything, including me. An inner presence. See if you can sense that and get awareness. It's more than just it's a knowing, it's a receiving that inner presence. Take a deep breath in as you begin to feel that more deeply as we sit in meditation for a few more moments. Feel that presence. Feel the presence filling you, filling your soul, your being. Inner presence in everything. as we rest in the silence for just a few moments. Again, if your mind starts to drift, just return to the conscious attention of the breath. Presence in everything. Divine presence in everything. Rest now in the silence for just a few moments. I'll watch the time. Just rest and be in the presence, in the silence, in the silence. In the silence. That God is right where I am. I know that God is right where I am. I know that peace exists at the center of everything. And that includes me. Take a deep breath in. Continue to feel that presence, that divine presence. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Move your body. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Sorry about that. Trying to move this mic around where it won't pop on me, on you. Okay. It's quite a blessing to be up here to lead meditation where I can take a peek at your face and just see it's gone. You've gone deep into this presence that we talk about. So good morning. I'm Rev Ron Holdaway, and welcome to all of you on Facebook watching us here or watching us later on YouTube. So we're so grateful for you to be here with us. A couple advertisements before I start on the talk. I don't know if you've seen this, Spirituality and Health. I got this yesterday. This is the first magazine. It's been coming. I pre-ordered it, so I think I got it a little early. This is the Unity magazine. If you've been getting Unity magazine, this is the new version. Unity has merged with spiritual health, and it says Spirituality and Health, a Unity publication. And I couldn't quit reading most of these articles. Most of them, a lot of the people in here, Ogun Holder and Kelly Isola, I think, and a lot of good stuff. So it'll be a little different twist, but it is under Unity. Ellen Davenport is the director of publications, and the same editor, Kathy Kuntz, I think her name, Kuntz is her name, is the same editor as the Unity magazine. There's a special, you can go to spiritualityhealth.com and get 3 digital copies of this for free for 3 months if you want to try it and get the download. So you can go to that. I'll leave this in the back if you want to flip through it and look at it. But we're excited about this. It's a new thing. It's going to more than, I think they said even almost more than double the subscription rate of what Unity will be exposed. So it's a good thing. And there's a beautiful article in here, or a picture, Life is a Journey, Not a Destination by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And there's a beautiful picture of Unity Village. That's the new labyrinth that they just built. It was just opened last year. I got to walk through that a couple of times last year, and I'll do it again soon because next week I won't be here. I'll be at the convention in Kansas City next week. So I'll leave next Saturday and be there through Thursday or Friday when I come home. So anyhow, encourage you to take a look at this, and you may want it. If you subscribe to Unity magazine, this is what you'll get instead of Unity magazine. And Bill mentioned spiritual economics. That is a fantastic class. We had a great discussion last week, and it brought back a lot of things for me. It's what Eric Butterworth's books are what changed my life. It opened my consciousness to a different world from the way I was raised in the evangelical, what I thought about myself. So spiritual economics, Discover the Power Within You, the Universe is Calling. Those 3 books in particular of his were early studies of mine, but this spiritual economics is just fantastic. So if you don't, I put some blurb about it in the MailChimp this week. If you didn't see it, you can get that, and get the book and do the reading on your own if you like. But it's a great study into our own consciousness. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay, so Bill gave you a snapshot of what we're talking about today from Martha Creek's book, Presence and Potential. Again, this divine presence that's within us. When we acknowledge and live from this place of the presence within us. There's huge potential in our lives, in our spiritual consciousness. So these practices, that there's 26 of them that are in this book, Martha called, they're spiritual practices. So this is one of them, keep relationships open. And the subtitle, in my talk, the subtitle should be for this chapter, Martha didn't do that, the subtitle should be don't gossip. That's the way that's what the gist of her book, or her chapter is, keep relationships open, don't gossip. And gossip is such a little tiny word, but it is so enormous, has enormous consequences, doesn't it? We've all been there, caught in the conversations to start with. Did you hear about so-and-so? Gossip can be so tempting, yet its impact can be devastating. And as Bill shared with you, gossip hurts the person being gossiped about, and it definitely hurts the person, the gossiper. So now, it creates stress and anxiety in our lives by living unauthentically, I think, when we talk about people behind their back. But when you see it, but let me make it clear, this is not to give us an out or some way to justify what we do sometimes, but there's a clear boundary between discussing about people and gossiping about people. What would you think is one of the reasons? What's the difference? What can you tell real quick about when we get caught in the gossip trap, if you will? What's a trait of that? What would that be? Can you think of anything?
I think immediately if they're gossiping, it may be true, and it may not be true.
That's true too.
If you listen to it and it's not true, and you spread it, you've just been big.
So one thing, Bill?
I was just going to say, conversations that start with, can you keep a secret?
Yeah. So here's a subtle point. If the conversation, if you're in with somebody, if you're talking about somebody else, if you're focused on somebody else and not focused on you, then it's probably some kind of gossip. Gossip is subjective. A discussion is objective. Gossip seeks validation, while discussion seeks perspective. Gossip is to judge people, while discussion is to understand a situation. Real subtle. It is very subtle. But, we don't beat ourselves up with this. That's the other thing about all this. This is about awareness. Martha suggests that we look at this. And so why is gossip so harmful? Why is it so harmful? So we'll look at that, and I've got a couple of stories that may even be a little funny that point to some funny gossiping stories that we'll look at. And again, as Bill said, yes, we all claim to hate gossip. It's the human condition that we hate. It's in us, and yet we all do it. We despise it, but yet we still do it. So why is it so tempting? Why is it so tempting for us to gossip? And if it's so good for us to do it, why do we want to deny that we engage in any kind of gossip? So there was a small town, any small town that you can imagine, one day that Sally saw her neighbor Tom walking out of a store carrying a pink t-shirt. When she got home, she told 3 friends that Tom was wearing a pink shirt. This is a small town. You can imagine a pink shirt, for a guy to wear a pink shirt in most towns would not be. So she told these friends, and the whole town soon buzzed about Tom's new fashion statement of wearing a pink shirt. So what was the truth? Tom had bought this shirt for his niece's birthday, but the gossip mill had turned it into a fashion faux pas, for wearing a pink shirt. Tom didn't know why people were laughing behind his back until somebody finally told him about the rumor. Tom laughed it off, but it taught the town a lesson about how quickly and inaccurately gossip spreads. Now that was pretty benign, but you can imagine there's lots of other things sometimes where it's not benign. Bill also shared with you a thought that gossip may be positive or neutral, even productive and sometimes fun. Rarely, but sometimes. I think it's more of a discussion when it's that way. Thanks to social media, though, we now live in an all too comfortable, we're so comfortable about discussing the lives of each other and doing it publicly. Gossip is now almost normalized, and I call it gossip is almost now a sport. It really is. And it's complicated because gossip can be a fun way to socialize and bond with each other. It can also help people fit in and seem positively affirmed by others. Again, I think that's more of a discussion rather than talking about people behind their back. We can share experiences with each other. Gossip can help people gather and and confirm information and play a role in helping each other. Gossip can help us protect yourself or your group from being targeted of gossip. However, and generally speaking, gossip hurts the person being gossiped about and can also make those of us who participate feel untrustworthy. So psychologists say, why do we gossip? So here's just a couple examples. Two people become best friends when they have a common enemy. Isn't that the truth? Great friendships frequently begin with a common dislike for something or someone else. Gossip is a human function, a fundamental human function. It is only when we start to indulge way too much in other people's lives that becomes our single or most go-to source for information, for happiness, for topic of conversation. That's when it becomes a problem. And here's one that's all these are just for us to evaluate and see what fits. This is the psychologists report this, that low self-esteem is usually a reason why people spend a large portion of their daily lives talking about other people's lives, and they are suffering. The person doing that is suffering from low self-esteem. So that's something to watch out for. In her book, Martha says, I need to show you the picture since I'm mentioning Martha several times. Go to the next slide, Diane. Have you already done it? No. So I got this last night. So Martha sent me a text that said, I was in Louisville at a gala they're doing in Louisville. Matter of fact, they're honoring Martha, and she with some other friends, and she said, look who I found. So Becky and Martha know each other from way back. They used to go to church at Louisville, and there's the picture. She sent me that picture too of the gala that they're doing. So I thought we're talking about Martha, and I had talked to her a couple of times this week, and then there she is with Becky. So that was pretty good. So again, she says that we shift our focus from the external when we start this gossip, which is it's about them and what are they doing. We can shift back to the internal. What am I doing? What can we talk about besides somebody else? What's going on with me? Making this shift is how we keep our relationships open, talking about ourselves rather than having to talk about what somebody else is doing. So you know how many times the gossip is mentioned in the Bible? Now I found this from one of the resources looking at. You know how many times it's mentioned? 133 times. So two things about that came up for me. Well, and every time, I couldn't find a time in those. I didn't look at all of them, but it's always the Bible, the teachings are always advising against it. It creates division, spreads falsehoods, and destroys trust is what the gist of all the Bible verses that I found suggest. And the reason is because the words we speak have power. We know that, and gossip misuses that power in very harmful ways. One of the verses is Proverbs 20:19 says, He who goes about a slander reveals secrets. Therefore do not associate with a gossip. In Proverbs 25, it says, "Don't reveal the secret of another lest he hears it reproach you, and the evil report about you not pass away." This one is a good one from Proverbs 17. "Wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip. Liars pay close attention to slander." It's not very good things to say about gossip. So no, I may and you may, no, not me. I'm not into sharing dirty details about a person's life. But the psychologists point out that gossip takes many forms. It involves listening as well. So if we just listen to gossip, if we're participating by just listening, we should be aware of that. So the reason we talk about this and the reason it's important is relationships are important to everyone. Most of us prioritize our relationships with family and friends and community, and we strive to be authentic. We do a lot of talking about being authentic. So we communicate, so it's best to communicate directly with someone rather than speaking to them. So I looked up in the dictionary an anonym for gossip. The first word that popped up for gossip, an anonym for gossip, the opposite of gossip. Guess what it was? Silence. I thought that was pretty cool. Silence. So if you always want to know what to do if you get caught in a gossip, be quiet and then don't listen. Easier said than done, but it's a practice. So gossip isn't just a social issue, it's a spiritual one too. Again, from the Bible, James 3:6 warns us, "The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell." That's pretty strong. So what that told me, though, there's so many references like that in the Bible, throughout the Bible. I got a lot of other verses here, but it's gone on forever. It's part of what we do. It doesn't say it's right, but it's what we do. Gossip hurts the person being gossiped about, again. And it can and will destroy relationships very quickly, create stress and anxiety in our lives. And you've all probably heard of an example like this. I was thinking of this one. So an employee sent out an email chain in an office, set out an email chain, and it had a bunch of negative comments, gossipy messages about the boss, about his hairpiece and his age, about his weight, and all this stuff about the boss. And there was an email chain going back and forth. Well, the boss, being tech savvy, somehow saw the email and decided to have some fun. He replied to the message and added a bunch of, he said, "I see all you have been discussing my secrets. Well, let me add to the mix." And so he put some outlandish stories about himself, all in good humor. But it told the office people right away what a valuable lesson it is not to gossip, even on the digital gossip. That's a fear of a lot of us, is sending out an email and saying something in the email that we probably shouldn't be talking about. There's another one, a family one. This was a cute one. I was telling my grandson about this, that there's I'm not sure he understood it, but there was a story about the story of the missing cookies. And it was in a family, and someone noticed that the cookies were disappearing right from the jar. The kids started whispering and blaming Dad, and started spreading that to the kids and the grandparents, and that Dad was still taking the cookies. Mom even joined in, sharing the rumor with her friends. The gossip grew until Dad felt guilty, and he wasn't even taking the cookies. So they found out that the dog had learned how to open the jar with his nose. He opened the cookie jar and was eating the cookies. So, lighthearted story shows how gossip can create false accusations and misunderstandings, even in loving environments. Gossip affects our moral and ethical integrity. When we engage in gossip, we compromise our values. Philippians 4:8 urges us to think about whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. Engaging in gossip pulls us away from these virtues. It takes awareness and intention to avoid getting caught in the trapped in a habit of gossip. Gossip can destroy relationships. Keep relationships open. Avoid gossip. So it might seem harmless and even entertaining, but it is real, often very harmful consequences. From Ephesians 4:29, it says, "Do not let any wholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what helps build others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." I like that. That's a real good verse. So in closing, think twice next time you're tempted to share a juicy tidbit. Consider the impact of your words and speak life, not harm. Let's commit to being a community and individuals that uplifts and encourages one another rather than tearing others down with gossip. Namaste. And thank you, Martha, for putting that bug in our minds to help us keep relationships open. So we give thanks for that.
Can I add something about gossip?
Sure.
There's a story of a village, and there was a young girl that gossiped about her friend, and she had told some of her other friends this tale, and then she felt bad about it, so she went to her grandmother and she said, "Grandmother, how can I fix it? How can I undo this and be friends again with my good friend?" And her grandmother said, "Take this pillow, and you go along, cut a little hole in it, and go along all the houses and put a feather on the steps of every house that you told this story to. And then come back to me." And so she did. She took all the feathers and put them on the steps. And then she came back to her grandmother and she said, "Now what's next, Grandma?" And Grandma says, "There's nothing next. You should go and pick up all those feathers." And the granddaughter said, "I can't. They've all blown away." And the grandmother said, "And so did your words. Once they're out of your mouth, they're gone. You can never put them back."
Very good.
I was like that.
That's a good closing. Very good. Very wise. Thank you, Jean. Okay, now we get the time. This is the time of the service where we get to say thanks. Thanks for this community. Thanks for these teachings that we come here together for this music we've heard this morning. We just get to say thanks. And so considered in the broadest sense, prosperity is spiritual